Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Whispering English. When we think of the birth of the United States, we often picture a neat story, a few brave men gathering in a room, signing a paper, and poof, a new nation is born. But the truth of how America was really born is far more complex, filled with intense debate, quiet rebellion, and a struggle for identity that stretched across an entire ocean. Today, we invite you to step into the 18th century and discover the real, human story behind the founding of a nation. To understand America's birth, we must first look at the tension between the colonies and the British Crown. For over a century, the American colonies had lived with a kind of salutary neglect. They managed their own affairs, traded their own goods, and built their own local governments. But after the costly 7 Years' War, Britain needed money. They turned to the colonies, imposing taxes on tea, on paper, on sugar, without giving the colonists a voice in Parliament. The famous cry, "No taxation without representation," wasn't just about money. It was about principle. It was about the colonists realizing that they had become a distinct people with their own interests, separate from those of London. By 1775, the tension exploded into open conflict. But even then, independence was not the first choice. Many leaders still hoped for reconciliation. It took the powerful writing of Thomas Paine and his pamphlet Common Sense to shift the public mood. Paine argued that it was illogical for a small island nation thousands of miles away to dictate the future of a vast, growing continent. When the Continental Congress finally met in Philadelphia, the air was thick with the weight of treason. If they signed the Declaration of Independence, they were not just declaring a new country, they were signing their own death warrants if the war were lost. It was a leap into the unknown, a gamble on the idea that self-governance was worth the risk of everything. The birth didn't end with the war. Winning independence was only the beginning. The real work, the true birth of the America we know today, happened in 1787 at the Constitutional Convention. The early government, under the Articles of Confederation, was too weak to hold the states together. They were essentially a loose collection of sovereign powers, constantly arguing about money, land, and borders. The convention was a masterclass in compromise. Small states wanted equal power, large states wanted power based on population. The result was a delicate balance, a system of checks and balances that was specifically designed to ensure that no single person or group could ever become a tyrant again. We must remember that this birth was not perfect. It was a revolution led by men who held deep contradictions. While they spoke of liberty and justice for all, many were slaveholders, and the rights they championed did not yet extend to women, indigenous peoples, or enslaved Africans. The story of America's birth is not a completed chapter, it is an ongoing struggle to live up to the beautiful, difficult ideals written in those early documents. So, how was America really born? It was born through doubt, through heated argument, and through the slow, painful process of trying to build a government where none had existed before. It reminds us that any great change, whether in a country or in our own lives, is rarely easy or immediate. It requires the courage to ask questions, the patience to listen to opposing views, and the strength to compromise for the common good. Thank you for joining me for this historical reflection on the Whispering English. If this story helped you see a familiar event in a new light, please subscribe to our channel. We are here to learn together, grow together, and uncover the history that shaped our modern world. Tell me in the comments, What do you think is the most important quality a society needs to truly be free? Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep exploring.